And thank you for joining us once again on Stock Investor Daily. We're doing an exclusive interview today focused on a company we've talked about in the past, and we've done an interview with them, a company called Home Bistro Inc. Ticker symbol is HBIS. Now, Home Bistro is a leading online platform that provides the creation, production, and distribution of direct-to-consumer, heat-to-eat, celebrity chef-inspired gourmet meals, which currently include inspiration developed by Iron Chef Kat Cora, also TV host Aisha Curry, Hungry fan Chef Dana Falk, we had her on the program before, Master Chef Claudia Sandoval, and Top Chef All-Star Richard Blaze, plus many others. So keep that in mind. Home Bistro Inc., the ticker symbols HBIS. Our exclusive interview today features two special guests. It's Zalmi Dukman, the CEO of Home Bistro Inc., and Chef Priyanka Naik. Now, you might not be familiar with her, but you will be very familiar with her after this interview. She happens to be the Food Network champion. So without any further ado, let's talk to Zalmi and Chef Priyanka. And with us today, we have Chef Priyanka Naik, who is also known as the Food Network champion, among other things. She's also an author. She'll tell us more about that. And Zalmi Dukman. Zalmi is the CEO of Home Bistro. Zalmi, always great to see you. Chef Priyanka, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you are a chef, an award-winning chef, the Food Network champion, and author, as I mentioned. You have a column apparently with the Washington Post now. Tell us more about who you are.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like as the hustle continues on, there's like just the laundry list of titles, but really at the core, I am a cook, and my focus is vegan cooking with a sustainable approach. And I'm self-taught, which kind of maybe sets me apart from other chefs. And I've had a very atypical path to getting where I am. I'm not like a traditional restaurant chef. I have not gone to culinary school, but that does not make me any less of a chef. I'm self-taught for a very particular reason, because most of my cooking is rooted in my culture. I'm first generation Indian American, born and raised in New York City, as well as my travels. I've traveled fairly extensively to nearly 40 countries. So a lot of my experiences in the countries that I've traveled to, just understanding their food, their agriculture, their meal styles, everything has really influenced my culinary perspective. So all of that has been woven into the recipes that I develop, and especially the recipes that I've developed for Home Bistro. And so it wasn't really until later in my culinary career that I realized that I like writing and storytelling and being on TV as much as I like cooking, because I think those sort of communication platforms really help me tell my story and really help get my cooking style out there. So that's why you kind of see me all over TV now. That's why I have a book. That's why I have the column with the Washington Post coming out, because these are all just platforms to continue getting people to understand all the different diversity within food and better understanding vegan food, as well as thinking about food in a more sustainable lens.
Really interesting. I mean, anybody that follows you on Instagram or maybe have seen you on the Today Show or anything like that, electric smile, high energy type of a person. Like you said, it's vegan, plant-based is what you're talking about. You mentioned recipes. You're going to be unveiling a number of different meals with Home Bistro. Can you give us an idea of maybe what some of those meals might be?
Yeah, so I like to cook. You know, when people see me as a person or me as a chef, they're like, "Oh, so you must make Indian food." And while that might be true to a certain extent, it's not. I think, and Zelmi can attest to this. My recipes they're just kind of made up. Like honestly, they're a culmination of all of my experiences. So some have a lot of Indian influence from my particular background. But some are very random based on just like ingredients and things that I like. So there is a dish that involves eggplant rolls with bechamel, and it kind of combines a very traditional Italian eggplant parm, but with a more Middle Eastern Mediterranean approach to the dish. And so it's not things that you might be accustomed to seeing on menus, but that's why I love cooking, because I want people to think about vegetables and food in a new light. So the recipes range from anything from like my take on an Indian jalfrezi, which is kind of a very spicy stir fry, to even pumpkin baked oats. So it's kind of a whole variety. So everything is a surprise in a sense.
Your influence too. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, this month is supposed to be Earth Month, but you're basically down with Mother Earth every day as far as your cooking goes. I mean, your influence, as you mentioned, those. Do you have any personal favorites though, as far as recipes?
In general, or recipes for home bistro that we're playing
Well,
with?
perhaps maybe one or two recipes for home bistro, or just maybe a couple of personal favorites. People can get familiar with you and your style of cooking.
So one of the recipes that I really like that we're going to be unveiling is a cauliflower steak. And while that sounds played out, because every time you go to a restaurant, it's like the vegan option is a cauliflower steak. This is anything but that. It basically combines a lot of the flavors from like my particular background. I'm Maharashtrian, so there's going to be a lot of different spices in there, but I also really love Middle Eastern spices like dates and tahini and mint and couscous. So it kind of combines like both parts of those worlds to bring together a very holistic dish where every bite should be spicy, a little bit sweet, and it has a lot of texture. And I want people to warm up the package, open it up, and feel like they're really experiencing something and that the meal is taking them somewhere else, that they're kind of not in their home kitchen anymore.
Sure. Now we're talking about obviously Chef Priyanka Naik is with us, and also Zalmi Dukman, CEO of Home Bistro. We're talking really about some of these meals you're talking about creating for Home Bistro, Chef Priyanka. Tell us a little bit about the partnership. Why choose Home Bistro? How did it come about? I mean, what about this partnership that you have now with Zalmi and his company?
So Zalmi reached out to me and I was like, hey, what's up? But no, he reached out to me and, we got talking about like really what Home Bistro does. And I think one of the aspects of being a chef, but in my case, a very atypical chef, so I don't own a restaurant or anything yet, is that I'm not necessarily feeding people on a daily basis. And I think one of the joys of being a chef is cooking for people and having them eat your food. Ultimately, I think for me, aside from the whole cooking process, it's the joy of seeing someone eat my food and like it, maybe not like it, that's very rare, but if enjoying it. And I think that brings me immense joy because that's a way for me to express my love is through food. And so when we started talking about Home Bistro, I was really attracted to the fact that it can be nationally available. I've done a few partnerships in the past where it was not nationally available, and that was very stifling because my audience extends not only from New York but to LA and everywhere in between, and I want to be able to bring my food into everyone's home. So the fact that it's nationally available was very attractive to me. I love the trajectory of his business actually, and where it started and how it's grown. And as someone who is kind of a hustler, self-made, like I really do appreciate that from other people who are also equally growing their businesses. I think there is a lot of camaraderie in that. And I also find the packaging very interesting. So because they are, and Zalmi, please correct me if I'm wrong, I'm probably using wrong terminology, but
Right.
because they're vacuum sealed, and my whole focus is on sustainability, the aspect of having the food arrive to someone's home. And if that person is a busy person, they're always on the road, that food doesn't have to go to waste. They can freeze it and always come home to it. And I love that aspect because I hate when people have food in the fridge, just like even me, and it just goes bad because you can't do anything with it. You're not home to eat it. You're not home to cook it. And that's personally a struggle for me because I'm always on the road. So the fact that these are vacuum sealed and people can essentially save them until they're ready to eat them is really, really cool. And then the convenience factor, like people in my generation or in this day and age are constantly on the go. And while people like to eat good food, they're not always cooking like me. So they don't want to put in the effort to cook. So this kind of alleviates that whole effort process and makes it really seamless for someone in this case to have like a really nutritionally valuable vegan meal that, I've made. And I think for all those reasons, I moved forward with the partnership with Home Bistro.
Great information. I mean, Zalmi, you're literally putting together an all-star roster of chefs here. I mean, you have the Iron Chef, you have Aisha Curry, which, correct me if I'm wrong, her meals dropped today. That's a big announcement from the company, just letting people know that Aisha Curry's meals are available. You have Richard Blaze, a number of other ones, Claudia Sandoval, and now Chef Priyanka is now joining the group. When do you think, any estimate on when Chef Priyanka's meals might actually hit the street as well?
Yeah, we're getting pretty close. It's a process, and we think they should be ready to go sometime in the next month or two, hopefully sooner. We're super excited. We think that vegan plant-based is just a massive opportunity for us. While we do have some vegan meals on our website, we don't have a chef that's fully dedicated to it. We've got a lot of requests for it. Obviously, it's something that people want. It's growing, and it's super exciting, especially working with someone like Chef Priyanka, who's hard to keep up with. As you can see, she's taken over this interview, so she knows all the answers. I could let her talk about everything, which is fantastic, because she's so unique in the fact that she's not your atypical, like she said, celebrity chef. But I look at her as a celebrity chef. I mean, since I've begun following her and met her, she's been on the Today Show, Washington Post, like you mentioned. So I think her trajectory is just going to go through the roof, and we're super excited to have her on board and start selling our meals.
And Chef Priyanka, you got the new book out, which I saw is available on Amazon right now, The Modern Tiffin. I mentioned to you earlier before we did the interview, I'm a new follower on your Instagram. I mean, you were, with your energy level, your knowledge, and your background, I mean, you're tailor-made for social media. So I know Zalmi knows that, you know that already. Zalmi, as far as the company goes, it's a public company. HBIS is the ticker symbol. What do you have in store for the rest of the year? Is the company going to continue to grow? You're going to sign more chefs? Where do we go from here, so to speak? What can you tell either investors or potential investors watching the interview today?
Sure. I mean, look, right now we're in execution mode. So obviously we have a few chefs that we've announced. Priyanka, one of them to launch. We still have to launch Chef Roble, who I believe you interviewed with me.
Yes.
And he's taken a long time to get going because he is one of a kind, but his meals are, from what I'm hearing, amazing. We still have to launch our new line with Perfecting Athletes, which is an unbelievable company. They make meals for all the top UFC fighters, Olympic boxers, and we're going to be doing a high performance meal line with them. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of things that we have going on. We're always looking to add more chefs and expand the menu. It's got to be the right fit. But we got a lot on our hands right now to make sure we execute correctly.
Sure, absolutely. And again, people can check out the website, homebistro.com. Chef Priyanka, question for you. I'm actually not a vegan. I do like plant-based meals, but I would consider myself maybe new to that sort of that type of food. Any advice for people like me out there that are new but want to kind of dip their toe into plant-based vegan type of meals?
Yeah, I think there's a huge number of people who are quote unquote flexitarian. So they're not, fully vegan like me, but they incorporate a lot of meat-free days during their week. And actually a bulk of my following on social media are flexitarian. So people who are interested in kind of dabbling in meat-free days, but aren't fully there yet, or don't really have an intention of going there yet. And my advice to people like that, or anyone who's just even has an adverse reaction to vegan food, because it kind of stems from like a certain negative stigma. When people hear vegan food, they're like, oh, ew, like it's rabbit food or it's a salad. And you will never see me caught like eating a salad. I don't like chewing a lot, and I find salads really exhausting to eat. So not a salad gal. But I think one thing to keep in mind for anyone really is that you have to kind of dismantle the current perspective that you have on food. So especially in the US, with like all of the different food regulations and the food pyramid and all that stuff that kind of stems from the 70s or whenever it was, before me, before my time, was like, well, a healthy, balanced plate is having a piece of meat at the center because you need all that protein, and then vegetables on the side and a carb on the side. And that sort of 3-segmented plate really doesn't exist in any other part of the world. Other cultures really don't eat like that. And to be honest, like, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a physician, but it may not even be the healthiest approach to food, because you're dismissing so many other nutrients in different vegetables and grains and everything else that exists out there. So once you dismantle that perspective, your whole horizon on food really changes. Because for someone like me who grew up in an Indian household, we eat family style and we have multiple dishes on the table, and we serve ourselves all these different vegetables. We always have a carb there. We always have some grain. We always have something fresh. And then we eat all of that together. And a lot of cultures do that too. So it's not just, my Indian culture. And I feel that if you dismantle that perspective, it opens up your horizon, then you just think about food differently. So when you receive, let's say, one of my meals, it's not going to be like the piece of steak or meat and then like a mashed potato and a vegetable on the side. There's nothing wrong in that. It's just, that's not the way I cook, and that's not the way a lot of people cook. And I think that ultimately will give you so many more options in thinking about what to eat for dinner that night, for instance.
Sure, absolutely. And if you're just tuning in, a special guest today is Chef Priyanka Naik with Home Bistro Inc. I have the CEO, Zalmi Dukman, both of them joining us in our exclusive interview. Wrapping up the interview, thank you so much for joining us. Zalmi, any last words you'd like to go ahead and get out there for people watching us?
Yeah, look, Chef Priyanka, you covered it all, and you're amazing. I'm so excited to be working with you. I think for us, she just hit it on the nail on the head. We have all these chefs. They're all different, but they all have chicken and mashed potatoes. Literally, like if you look at all of our celebrity chefs, they all have similar dishes. So we're so excited because this line is going to be really, really unique. And I even see potentially down the line us doing maybe, co-lines where, Priyanka steps in with some of the other chefs and maybe create something vegan with them, because they're all interested in that. I know Kat Cora was like, oh, let's do some plant-based stuff, but they don't know enough about it, even though they're top chefs of the world. So I think there's exciting things to come from this partnership, and I'm just so excited to get it launched already. And I'm kosher, by the way, so I can't eat any of the meals, but I can eat Priyanka's meals. So I'm excited.
Chef Priyanka, anything you'd like to add here as we wrap up the interview?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say thank you so much for bringing me on. I mean, this is definitely like not what I even pictured kind of happening in my career. There's so many chefs that you work with that I really looked up to growing up, and it's really cool to just be amongst that same company. Like, I feel honored, and I think it's really cool to be able to, again, just going back to being able to provide my food to people across the country. And I think once people get a taste, hopefully they won't stop there and they'll keep wanting more. And I just can't wait until we launch this and get all these home bistro meals into their homes. And, I'm not trying to convert anyone to veganism, but if someone happens to convert after eating my food, like, I'm not going to say I told you so, but I wouldn't be mad at that. But no, thank you so much. This is truly an honor, and I'm super excited about it.
Well, I will tell you both, hand up, I will be trying the meals from Chef Priyanka. Absolutely. We'll do another interview. We'll talk more about it. There's Almi, and really appreciate both of you. Thank you so much for showing up today on the interview, doing an exclusive interview with us here at Stock Investor Daily. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And once again, thank you so much to Chef Priyanka Naik and also Zalmi Dukman, CEO of Home Bistro Inc. Again, the ticker symbol on the company, HBIS. Go check them out, do your homework. And if you like, take a look at the website. You can also check out the meals on there. Delicious meals you could check out, and you could even try them yourself if you like and order them straight to your door. The website, homebistro.com. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you have a great day. I'm Dave Darland for Stock Investor Daily.